let's move to the next talk. Next observatory, the WM Keck telescope. And the speaker is Rich Matsuda, the director of the Keck telescope.
So thank you so much for inviting me to give the update. I'm Rich Matsuda, as John Gabriel introduced me. I'm worked at Keck for over 30 years, mainly in engineering and operations. Became observatory director about 1.5 years ago. I'm also the astronomy representative on the Mauna Kea Stewardship and Oversight Authority. I won't be talking too much about that because I know you have a presentation from John DeFries today. So let me start by saying that my talk today is really formatted around our strategic plan that we call Keck 2035. You can find it on our website. We chose 2035 as sort of the horizon for our planning based on the fact that a few things. We plan to have a new lease on Mauna Kea by then, and also recognizes big changes in the scientific landscape over this time period. And on the right-hand side, you'll see that while the strat plan is centered on science, we recognize that our having a healthy, sustainable organization and strong Hawaii community relations is essential, are essential pillars for our success in the future. So I'll kind of follow the format of those three bubbles, starting with science. So just a quick result to share that came out a couple of weeks ago in Nature Astronomy out of NASA observer Connor Nixon and some colleagues who used both Webb and Keck with AO and our NERC2 camera to observe methane clouds on Titan close to the North Pole. You can see in the middle bottom and middle right an area where there are large methane lakes, and in the images they saw these methane clouds sort of moving up in the atmosphere like a convective cell. The reason I chose this one is to highlight a program that we have called the Twilight Zone program, led by Imka DePatter of UC Berkeley. This program provides means for taking these short cadence IR images during twilight time. So we got this nice result out of this. Regarding science productivity at Keck remains high at about 300 publications per year. But I wanted to note that about 20% of the papers now utilize Keck Observatory archive data, not taken, in the program by the primary PI. So using Keck archive data, which is great. And then about 1/3 of the papers now are based on data taken with adaptive optics. So here's a little breakdown of AO papers over time since the year 2000. And we're approaching about 100 papers a year using AO observations. And over that time period, 2000 to the present, over 1,300 papers utilizing AO. And as you can see, most of the papers are exoplanet and galactic science, although there's also solar system and extragalactic. Mentioned the archive earlier. Let me click through this animation here. So we have a publicly available data archive known as COA, and it's funded by NASA. It's a collaboration between the NASA Exoplanet Science Institute and IPAC at Caltech, and of course the observatory. And the data from all our instruments are held in this archive, made available to the public after a proprietary period. So the proprietary period is 1 year for NASA, 1.5 years for all other users. And just wanted to show this animation to show the spatial map of all the data sets, and the different colors are the different instruments that are quoted on the left there. Just a fun way of showing the extent of the archive and that it's available to everyone. Here's a very brief update on major instrumentation projects going on at the observatory. So the Keck Planet Finder is our fiber-fed RV spectrograph. And right now it's performing very well, so it's exceeding its Doppler precision goal of 30 centimeters per second on short time scales, and now we are working to improve long-term stability, including a big driver that is thermal stability. For the Keck Cosmic Web Imager, this is a medium resolution, high efficiency IFS with blue and now red arms, performing really well at the observatory, high demand for that instrument. DEMOS is our seeing limited multi-object spectrograph, undergoing a throughput and hexapod flexure compensation upgrade with new detectors, so 8 new E2V 2K by 4K detectors that are undergoing tests right now, and we hope to commission that early next fiscal year. Scales and high spec I have slides on, so I'll skip through those. Low-res 2 is the replacement for LRES, our low-resolution imaging spectrograph, which has been really a workhorse instrument on Keck 1. And low-res 2, the upgrade or a new instrument, is just passed its PDR in April, and promises to be a really great step up to LRES. And then 2 instruments that are a little further down the road seeking funding right now are Liger, which is a second-gen AO-fed IFS. It's really meant to take advantage of the improvements in Sterling Keck 1 AO with the Kappa project that I'll talk a little bit about. And then a wide field imager for with a 1 degree field of view. This is to take advantage of the blue. This is instrument being proposed by Swinburne University, one of our minor partners. Okay, so here's scales. I won't read the whole slide, but it's basically an instrument meant to go behind Keck 2 AO, direct imaging and IFS for exoplanets being built up in Santa Cruz. We hope to see delivery of this at the end of the year. And high spec, next instrument here is a fiber-fed, high-resolution spectrograph, meant to be fed off of the new high-order DM that's being installed in Keck 2 later this year or next year. And this is being built at Caltech by Dimitri Mawe and team, expected to be delivered at Keck in 2027. I want to talk a little bit about AO, but also talk about evolution and the leadership at AO. Peter Wazinowicz, who's longtime AO leader at Keck, basically put our systems together and implemented them, has retired. He's now emeritus, and very happy to have Antonin Boucher as leading our AO development efforts. Before Keck, he came to us from GMT. Here is basically a roadmap of our AO strategy. And starting at the top, basically Keck 1 and Keck 2 were pretty much, similar or same leading up to this time, because we developed interferometer with both AO systems. But now the systems are being differentiated and going down 2 different paths. So Keck 1 focusing on high sky coverage with the Kappa laser tomography upgrade, and then Keck 2 on high contrast on bright stars with the new high order DM due to arrive this summer. And then our long range plan, if you kind of look at the K1 side, is around implementing an adaptive secondary mirror. We're at the sort of concept design stage and seeking design funding for that. And that'll be around 4,000 actuator level ASM. And we did a trade study and are selecting the TNO design. And we're encouraged by the success it's with the UH and IRTF on their TNO ASMs. This will enable ground layer AO, and then eventually studying the possibility of the visible multi-conjugate AO as the next step after that. Onto the organizational health. pillar. There's so many aspects I could talk about here, but due to time, I'll just mention a couple of sustainability things. One is, we're approaching 40 years as an observatory, and so we have to fix things. And one of the things is that the Keck 1 telescope concrete pier that supports the azimuth axial hydrostatic bearing system has degraded over time due to hydraulic oil infiltration into the grout that supports the journal. And so we had two major repairs. We just completed the first one, which was a 6-week shutdown. These green areas on the left, and then later this fall, we'll do these other areas to capture almost all of the grout. Huge job. We had to hire about 40 outside contractor laborers and then about 20 of our staff, but it came out really well. As you can see in the sort of 5 o'clock range is a good example of how the deflection went from way above spec to within spec with the repair. And then here's the finished product. So here's the journal with the oil on it, new trays that prevent the leaking, and then you can see the new grout here. And here's a picture of the old grout that got contaminated with the oil. Okay, and then another sort of financial sustainability aspect is, I know everyone is concerned about U.S. federal funding if you receive it, and given the current uncertainties. And this is a photo of a group of us visiting Hawaii Senator Mazie Hirono's office in D.C. in January when we were there for the AAS conference. And the two people on the far left and far right are members of her staff. Keck has a cooperative agreement with NASA, and of course we get NSF funding for instruments, and so we're continuously striving to keep our congressional representatives and senators informed about what we're doing. And our chief scientist, John O'Mara, has been out to DC I don't know how many times this year, and he and I just got back from DC a couple of weeks ago. And so we find that keeping folks informed and aware of how important the federal funding is extremely important at this time. Okay, I'm going to finish up with the third pillar, which is our Hawaii community relations. This slide here just identifies our main end goals of, getting a new lease to operate long-term on Mauna Kea. And we also understand that the legal permission alone is not sufficient. We also need what we like to think of the social permission to operate. So we need the trust and support of the Hawaii community. So Astro 2020 provided guidance, and so the two main efforts at Keck, in a simplified view, is supporting and collaborating with the new governance of Mauna Kea, and then also creating a new paradigm for our relationships with the community. So I just wanted to share one perspective on this regarding the formation of the MKSOA, which is representing a really significant paradigm shift for achieving balance in terms of a balance of interests on Mauna Kea. And I think the good news from my perspective, being on the MKSOA, is that the different sides are at the table working together to find a balance, which is really remarkable to me given how divided everything was back in 2019. However, there's a lot of work to keep it in balance, and what we want is sort of a future state where that balance is sort of automatic and stable, and that the community genuinely sees culture and environment at equal level of stewardship with community participation and decision making, and astronomy continues to thrive at a sustainable level. And to get there is, built on building trust, mutual understanding, and a solid framework through the new authority. So there's good progress, but also I'm sure you'll hear in other presentations and John DeFries's presentation that there's a limited time to get there. So I would say positive progress, but lots of work to do there. And then I'll just mention on our on our Hawaii community relations pillar that we've hired a new chief public affairs officer, Ilihia Johnson, who has a really strong background in community building, government relations, and communications, and he is bringing a renewed focus to our efforts in these different areas, with a strong focus in education and workforce development, in collaboration with CFHT and the other MKOs and the university. And so just note we have a new leader in that area. So that's basically taking us through the three pillars, and just finish up with a summary where we hope to be in 2035 from a high level here. So obviously we want to continue to play a essential role in scientifically in the era of ELTs and JWST and Rubin, and be helping to inform future missions like habitable worlds. We'd like to be in a position to continue driving technological advancement in instrumentation and AO, leveraging the innovation of our partners, Caltech and UC and others. We hope that our Keck nights are, with advancements I talked about in instrumentation, that our nights are highly sought after, that we take advantage of the superb conditions on Mauna Kea, and that we have a strong staff and great staff support to enable discoveries, and that we have strong relationships built on trust on Mauna Kea. We have a new lease where have a solid long-term future, good relationship with the community, strong workforce development pipelines. And then finally, that our operations are highly effective and efficient, we're financially sound, facilities well maintained, etc. So that's all I have. And thanks, and happy to take a question or two.
Hello, Rich. Are there any questions for Rich? Not that I am biased in any way, Rich, but on your last slide, previous one, you should add Euclid, please, on the first bullet.
Sure. Yeah.
You are already doing observations to support Euclid, so thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you again, Rich.